Welcome back, everyone. It is 8:35 in the morning here. I just rolled out of bed, and now I'm recording this. A day in the life of a vagabond. My first thing I do every day, some journaling and some reading every morning. No exceptions. Maybe once or twice I missed the journaling and reading, but no exceptions. Normally I do that here, sip on some iced coffee, or I go to one of my favorite cafes in town. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. There's a hostel just down the street from my apartment, A&O Hostel. I stayed there when I first got to Budapest. They have a free breakfast for people staying there, obviously, not just for anybody. It should be easy enough to sneak into. One of the pillars of the traveling mindset, scarcity. I'm not working out here. The only thing I'm doing out here is this channel, practicing the piano. I'm not making money from either of those. And both those things cost money. Money is time out here. So when I get word of a free breakfast down the street, I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm actually a little bit nervous about this. In all the times that I went to the breakfast, I was never asked for any proof that I was staying there. But I did one time see a group of 3-year-olds. I was asked to scan their card on like an iPad reader. If they do that, I would have a card. That could get awkward. What I'll probably say is I just checked out. I'm just going to walk in like I own the place. What a morning. Smashing success. I had not one, not two, but 3 plates of food, 3 cappuccinos. I got my morning journaling done. Cherry on top, the icing on the cake, if you will. 2 hard-boiled eggs. Put in the pack. Take home. Hostel breakfast turns into a hostel lunch. If I'm to be completely frank, I was quite nervous. I walked in the front door. Turn left with confidence. Around the corner, make my way to the breakfast area, and then I see a ticket checker. He scared me. I don't remember that guy being there when I was staying at the hostel. I stopped, sat at a table just outside the breakfast area. I put some AirPods in, acted like I was just hanging out, listening to music for a little bit. And then at a moment when his back was turned, just walked right in. Before I knew it, I was in the area. Sipping down on cappuccinos, munching hard-boiled eggs. I was in. I'm gonna make up a cup of iced coffee, do a little reading, and do a quick piano practice. And then I think we'll hit the mean streets of Budapest. Oh jeez, I just spilled all over the floor. A friend recommended me this author, Kazuo Ishiguro. Now I'm gonna settle in, read this for a little bit. Just finished my reading for the day. Time for piano. My practice is always like the same thing I do. Warm up with a song or two that I know. Warm up the fingers. I go into the pieces that I'm just refining. The new pieces that I'm just learning. Just to clear my head, a little improv. Today I'm feeling bluesy. So now we have the whole rest of the afternoon. 2 o'clock right now. I'll take you on a walk around the city. Show you some of my favorite sights, my favorite buildings, beautiful architecture in Budapest. You know, people are always asking me.
What do you do when you're traveling?
Truth is, 99% of my time traveling is just spent walking around. Aimlessly. That's what we're going to do today. It is a scorcher. I looked at the weather, pushing 643 degrees Fahrenheit. You know how it goes. She's a scorcher, but we'll make do. We'll survive. We're tough. Let's pack up and go. Back on the mean streets of Budapest, coming up on one of my favorite buildings. It's this one right here. It's a street I've never walked on before, but I'm glad I did, because I found another cool building. It's a good one, eh? It seems like I just walked through a film set. People wearing old-timey clothes. There's a Russian flag, big film crew. It was cool. Anyways, we're heading towards the Duna, the river separating Buda and Pest. We're gonna cross over onto the Buda side. We've crossed onto the Buda side, hoping to find a nice quiet park to sit down in for a second, away from these noisy tram lines. I was wondering how I managed to get so lucky, finding such an empty street to walk up. But now I realize it's because this is the most steep and aggressive hill in all of Budapest. We're almost at the top. I found a little park here. Mansfeld Peter Park. That must be Peter Mansfeld right there. It's a lovely view from up here. That's Budapest Parliament right there. Some say one of the most beautiful buildings in the whole world. Thought it'd be a good time to talk about the difference between Buda and Pest. Budapest used to be two cities. Buda, Pest, through expansion, just ended up colliding. They both reached the Duna, the Danube, the river running between the two cities. They became Budapest, from two separate cities to one beautiful city. Pest is the happening side. All the bars, the nightclubs, the hostels, the tourists, it's where all that's happening. Not to say that there aren't tourist hellscapes on the Buda side of the river as well, along the Duna, looking over at Parliament. Beautiful view, especially at night, but you're bound to run into more tourists than you know what to do with. The Buda side, a lot more quiet, more locals over here. You won't see nearly as many tourists if you just go a little bit in. There are some sites over here, like the Buda Castle, walking along the Danube, that'll attract tourists, but for the most part, more Hungarian, especially the deeper you go. It's tough to find a hostel on the Buda side. If you're looking for cheap lodging, you'll almost certainly end up on the Pest side, although it's not impossible to find a hostel. I have stayed at a hostel on the Buda side, way on the Buda side though, deep in the Buda side, suburbs of Buda. It was in a house, a real house, detached home. You don't see that in the city. There aren't houses. They both have their pros and cons. I'm happy to be living on the Pest side. The Buda side's nice too. Quieter, calmer, more Hungarian, still beautiful, hillier, which for me is a negative. Some of you psychopaths might be a positive. If you're a hill climber or something stupid like that. Fun fact about Hungary, coolest country in the world, meaning that they have the highest rate of lung cancer, as evidenced by the massive amount of cigarette butts on the ground. Just made it back to the apartment. I am right exhausted. A long walk. It's almost 5 o'clock. Plan on going to Margaret Island for a picnic in an hour, give or take. Since I do plan a picnic later, I picked up some beers. 4 of them. I only plan on bringing 2 to the picnic. Because what's a picnic without a cold brew? In case you're wondering what a beer costs here in Hungary, these are Kronenberg Blancs premium beer. These cost 479 forints each. Total for all 4 was 1,916 forints. That's what a Kronenberg costs here. There are much cheaper beers. Welcome to the Gary Mac cooking experience. Making 2 things, salad and a sandwich. And always a slice of bread. I love a hearty salad. Cheers. Eight out of 10. Wrap it up. Produce bag. It's good beer. Welcome to Margaret, the most peaceful and relaxing place I've been to in Budapest. Solid. This picnic is the last item on my agenda today. So we'll wrap up this video now. That was my day in the life of a vagabond. Well, one of the days. No 2 days are the same. Really, there are 2 types of days. There are the routine, settled-in days. Me and my friend Zane like to think about traveling as an RPG video game. So you're leveling up your skills, and you're leveling up your character as you're traveling, becoming a better traveler, growing as a person, picking up different skill sets along the way. When you're long-terming in a city, like I am now, when you're getting comfortable, really living there, you're working on your individual skills. I'm up with my music skills, video making skills, my literary skills. That's a lot about what long-terming a city is about. And then there are days when you're moving. For next week's video, I plan on going on a side quest. And that's when you encounter real hardships that level up your character rather than just your skills. Stay tuned for that next week. I'm just going to buy a train ticket to a random town in Hungary and just see what happens. That's all. Hope you enjoyed the life.